called the Mboso in all night. Then today he went to church to go and say hello to God. So he's very tired. Like my friend from Uganda would say, no, in Kenya, I say, I am tired. So he is very tired. Anyway, we are here to discuss Ghana issue, Ghana problem, Ghana matters, everything, politics, maybe sports and some music and, showbiz or something. The latest showbiz message or gossip in town is that two Ghanaians, very unfortunate incident, two Ghanaians met in America. Apparently they were there to be honored, In the end, everything turned out to be rather unfortunate indeed. And the story goes that Miss Wiala, in my previous place that I used to work, I interviewed her. In fact, it's not even a year ago that I interviewed Wiala. It's a very powerful woman, powerful lady, highly energetic. We have a very nice interview. That lady is doing well to raise the image of Ghana, to sell Ghana abroad positively. And so is, I would say, Shatta Wale. We all know who Shatta Wale is, one of the artists in Ghana. He's doing well for himself, and he's also trying to raise the image of Ghana. Both of them apparently met in, is it Los Angeles? I've forgotten the place, but they met in America, or they were at a program in America where the two of them had to be honored or given an award. And apparently what happened was that for some reason, what is his name? Mr. What do we call it? Mr. Shatta Wale's group couldn't or didn't allow Wiala, apparently, yes, allegedly, to receive the award, something, or to be on the stage or something. It's all a bit not clever. It's not nice at all. But then, putting that aside, it's all about politics, and it's the game in town. You see, I say politics in Ghana. It's what we are going to talk about this afternoon, tonight, or this afternoon. I'm saying tonight because I know Mr. Nkoto is watching me all the way in Korea. So I'm some tempted to say tonight because by now it's already nighttime or even morning of that is Monday morning already in Korea. So he's watching, and other people are watching from America and elsewhere. This afternoon here in London, I'm going to speak into one of the stalwart of NDC politics, and that is the NDC director of elections. He has given his time to come and answer some few questions or come and discuss issues with us. And this afternoon, what we are going to talk about is about this registration. It looks as if every other year in Ghana, something about ID card or identity sort of what we call requirement is needed by the electoral commission, and if it's not the electoral commission, it's by the communication, what a ministry, register this, register that. You see, for some of us who live in the UK, we take these things for granted. We, when you buy a telephone or SIM card, you give your address and everything to the telephone operator or the provider, the service provider. In my case, I am with 3G, and they ask my name, my address, and very importantly, date of birth, and that is the end of it. No government official will come and ask you because the government have my details already. You living in this country, working, everything, the government has your detail, everything already. So it's not about government of UK asking us to re-register the SIM card, and that if you don't register, then you can't use it to do anything. I mean, you cannot even function. You cannot exist in Ghana. I watched recently, someone sent me a video clip on Facebook, a gentleman who went to the DVLA in Accra to register a vehicle, and the DVLA apparently refused to acknowledge or accept his driver's license as a proof of his identity. Can you imagine the driver's license that the DVLA themselves have provided or produced or given to the gentleman? They refuse. They said, look, if you don't bring your Ghana card, we are not going to register. Honestly speaking, I don't know whether if this is true, but it's a bit too much. So we've got Mr. Honorable, I should have put it that way, Free Ankara, Elvis Free Ankara, all the way from somewhere in Ghana to come and explain. I personally want to understand the issue at stake, what is really happening. I'm happy to say that Honorable Elvis Afriankra is right now on our special stream live on our TV. So, producer, if you allow me, I will say hello and welcome to Honorable Elvis Afriankra. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. Comrade MANSA MUSA, and how are you doing?
I am really fine. I'm really well. In fact, this morning can you believe it? I even went for a run. Not that I can run too long or too far away, no, I couldn't. But it is a start, if you know what I mean. When summer comes, I can say everything just comes good. So the question here, answer is yes, I'm good. What about yourself? Apart from the maybe economic or socially, family, everything is okay?
By the grace of God, we thank God for life. I am doing well. I'm currently in Kumasi, actually, because yesterday I had a program at the KNUST campus, and then there were a couple of funerals and a wedding as well. So I'm currently in Kumasi. I'll be going back to Accra, God willing, tomorrow.
I see. I must take the opportunity again to say that I have to express my appreciation, because I know you told me that because of this interview, otherwise you would have gone to Accra this afternoon or today, but because of this, you stayed back to do this interview with us. And how can I say, we at Home TV, we are very grateful for that gesture. Anyway, so you were in Kumasi doing program at KNUST. Recently, there was some sort of misunderstanding or some student demo which resulted in some damaged staff and police warning shots and arrest. Has everything subsided?
Yeah, that was in University of Ghana, Legon, between Sabah Hall and Commonwealth Hall, the vandals. And I think it was a very unfortunate development and occurrence because we've all been through the university, and these halls and the various groups are meant to bring what we call morale, to motivate and encourage the student body and foster solidarity. So when the relationship degenerates into fisticuffs and violence, it leaves a sour taste in the mouth. And therefore, we hope that we'll get to the bottom of these things and it should never happen again.
We hope it never, because when I see or hear, especially when I see on the video and the rest, police warning shots and the rest, I begin to feel that we haven't gone far since the days, in my day, in the 80s, everything has to be suppressed with or by the gun, and that is not very clever. Anyway, let's shift from there and come to more current or mundane issue. I mean, things that we need to discuss. And today, I want us to talk about, can you tell me, if I'm now confused, this registration of SIM cards, why has it come to this? Is it that necessary? Because we in UK, before you came on, I don't know if you heard me speaking about, we take it very for granted, big time. I mean, there's nothing to it. What is it that almost every year looks as if Ghanaians have to register something or do some sort of identification program? What is going on? Tell us, please.
Okay, so in order to deal with the subject matter in a comprehensive manner, I'm going to go beyond just the SIM card registration and relate it to the proposed the LI by the Electoral Commission that has to do with continuous registration, because the two are related. The basis of all these things has to do with the kind of data sets that we generate for Ghanaian citizens, so that the issues will be placed in their proper context. But coming back to your specific question, back in 2012, the government of the NDC, recognizing the need for a uniform, well-advanced database and identification system, passed the enabling legislature for the Ghana card. So the processes started. It was the NDC government that put in place the structures and mechanisms. If you recall, Dr. William Haji was the first CEO, then subsequently Kwame Griffiths became the acting CEO. So in terms of the software, in terms of all the operating systems that has to do with identities, it was done under the NDC regime. And in the law, it prescribed 14 different functions that the Ghana card could be used for, and it made them mandatory. And that is very important because that mandatory term in this context has been either deliberately or wrongly misconstrued by the current MPP government for what I believe will be mischievous purposes. And so over time, it was deployed until such a time that the current MPP administration came in, and then they said they were going to do the issuance. You know, before you start issuing the cards, a lot would have gone into place. So NIA card issuance does not start with issuance of cards. Before you issue the card, you get to that point, it means that 60–70% of the work would have been done. First of all, the enabling legislation which the NDC passed, the processes for the kind of software systems, algorithms that will be used, etc. All these things were done before the current administration came into place. Then it was time for the issuance. When it came to time for issuance, they promised us that they were going to do an instant issuance of cards. And if you recall, there was a huge controversy where they said the entire system was going to cost $1.5 billion US. And we recall that at that time, Kennedy Japan
I do remember.
India.
Kennedy Japan even said he could do it for
Exactly.
less. All those news, you know, has come to
Yes.
pass. And now we are where we are. You see, I don't want to rush you. I want you to explain everything. But why do Ghanaians still go in, you know, continue, for me, that's the way I see it. Maybe I'm wrong. Continue registering, identifying themselves. Why is it so going on and on and on and on? That's what I don't understand.
Good. So, because you have the history, many of your listeners probably do not have the history and the contextual background. So that's why I wanted to place the issues in their context. So that was what I was coming to. And so from that time going forward, the Ghana card, if it had been rolled out properly and deployed properly and issued, and let's take note of that word issued, 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 that would have become the mandatory document for all transactions that cover those 14 activities that are mandatory. In the course of time, a lot of the agencies and entities also started doing biometric registration. So for example, Ghana Immigration Service, SNIT, and so many other entities, to the extent that the then chief of staff had to write a letter stopping various entities from engaging in biometric registration because it was a duplication. And from where I sit, I think that it was for some people an opportunity to make money, to do procurement and make money. Because if you were migrating to a system where you're going to have a uniform identity, which had 14 mandatory purposes, that covers almost every aspect of life. Why then, in the interim, did you have to have all these other agencies doing identity cards and taking the biometrics of people? So poor Ghanaians were subjected to always going to queue to have their biometric data taken and all the inconveniences and all that. So for me, It was a procurement opportunity for some people who took advantage of the system. Now, back to where we are. Right now, as we speak, the National Identification Authority is not able to give us a specific figure about the number of Ghanaians that they've registered, the number of non-Ghanaians that they've registered, the number of people below 18 years. They give a ballpark figure. In some instances, they talk about 17.8 million, they talk about 18 million. So let's even work with 18 million. So assuming that 18 million people have been captured so far, from their own data, out of that 18 million, almost 3 million people have not had their cars delivered to them. Per the law that covers the NIA, they are supposed to, after the capturing of the data, within 120 days, provide the cards to the beneficiaries. They flouted that long ago. They have set many targets, regularly kept on revising them for the deployment and issuance of the cards to Ghanaians. They've not been able to meet all those targets. Now, out of the 18 million, which is even arguable, don't forget that there are people below the age of, and it starts from the age of 15. So 15, 16, up to below 18. The relevant aspect of it for us, especially when it comes to the new register, is 18 years and above, because those are the people who are eligible to register. The NIA has not been able to disaggregate to tell us that the people below from 15 years up to just before 18 years are this number. The foreigners are this number. And then, more importantly, give us a district by district, region by region breakdown so that we will know that, okay, out of the 17, 18 million, maybe you have given Ashanti region alone, maybe 40% of that. Now, if you've given Ashanti region 40% of that, and I'm just speculating, but speculative analysis is allowed in this context, or you've given some region a disproportionate percentage of issuance, then we'll be able to know. That would then enable us to make a case, because there are pockets of reports that we are getting that in many instances, some places which are considered to be strongholds of the opposition NDC are being denied, one, access to the NIA cards, two, the processes are slow and it is believed that they are deliberate, and three, there's so much inconvenience in terms of the distribution of the cards. Now, Honorable Kwame Agboja, who is MP for Adaklu, went to the NIA office in his constituency to go and inquire how far they had gotten with the NIA card in terms of the numbers of people and extra. And you'll be amazed to know that when he did his checks, less than 20% of the eligible people who are eligible to be registered and for cards to be issued to them have received their cards. In fact, they've not even been captured. And so if you have a situation where in a place like Adaklu, and we have reason to believe same to be true in many other districts, especially the rural areas, people have not been captured, then how then would you insist that a system that is still ongoing, that is not completed, and for which reason people do not have access to the cards, not because of their own doing or their unwillingness. They are willing and ready and able, but the NIA has not been able to put in place the appropriate mechanisms and systems and infrastructure to be able to deliver them on time. And then you turn around and insist that that card must be a compulsory, in fact, the sole document for registration of your SIM card. If you do not have that card, then you cannot have access to your phone. Your SIM card will be disabled. It is completely unfair. Now, you extend that agreement also to those who the EC today The EC has come out with an airline, and the EC matter.
Yeah, I was going to ask you later on
about
this airline. What does it mean?
Yes.
What are they seeking to?
Yes. So let me lay the foundation. Let me give the broad strokes. People will have a general stroke that will now come to the EC, and then the EC now says the Ghana card will be the sole document that you can use to register. Of course, they hide it under a balance that it's meant for continuous registration, but that is just a deception. So the argument is that, one, currently, the Ghana card is being done at district offices of the NIA. In some districts, again using Adaklu, they do not even have district offices. Imagine somebody is in Bamboy and has to travel all the way to Bole, the district capital, before they come. That's a 3.5 to 4 hour journey. Take somebody who is in the western north, Sefi Akontomra, and has to move to Sefi also to come and register. You can give countless examples. So the person comes, and many of your colleague media men have actually gone to NIA offices all across the country. They've videoed people. People tell horrendous stories. They travel all the way to district capitals, come and queue. Sometimes they spend 3 to 4 days. And these are poor farmers, fisher folk, and market women. Spend their money. They come sometimes 3 days, 1 week. They do not get their cards. And then they have to go back. Sometimes they'll tell you, we can't do it for you. Go to another district. So look at all these inconveniences. And in the midst of all these things going on, you are insisting that should be the sole card for you to have your SIM card registered. And now the EC also has come in to say that would going to be the sole card going forward for registration of voters. So it is so unreasonable, it is so unjustified, it is so bizarre that it then creates the avenue for people to speculate that indeed there is a hidden agenda behind all these things. Because why would anybody in his right senses insist that a document that has not yet been issued to all eligible Ghanaians? First of all, the NIA has not been able to tell Ghanaians that per our programming, we would be able to deliver all the cards to those who need it by 2023 or mid-year 2024, before the registration processes will be shut. They've not been able to do that. In fact, when the Slawusu gave the initial deadline and extended it to September, Dr. Kenatefua came out to say that September deadline is unrealistic, it's unreasonable, because he does not work according to those deadlines. So you have the same entity is telling you that deadline that another entity has set, they are not bound by it. And indeed, they are not bound by it. They are independent. In the midst of all this, then the Electoral Commission now gets up and says, so this same NIA card that Dr. Tefua is telling you, he doesn't work according to any set timetable. He works in perpetuity, so he has no deadlines. That NIA card should become the sole document for continuous registration. Does it add up? So then you go back to now.
The Electoral Commissioner, if I may come in here, is insisting that to be able to register to be captured on the electoral register, one has to have the Ghana card. And the Ghana card, where is it derived from? I mean, for instance, I don't have it. If I want to do, what do I need? If you can tell, in brief explanation, what do I need to get a card?
So if you need a Ghana card, you can take your passport, your driving license, and then you go to the offices of the NI and your birth certificate. If you don't have any of this, you can get a guarantor who will go and guarantee for you. And then the processes will start. Your biometric data, that is your 10 fingerprints, will be taken, and then you are supposed to be issued with a card. Okay. But the reality is that even after you've gone through this, and when you go to the various NI offices and you have colleagues in the media, they can send you clips. There is chaos there because thousands of people are there queuing, fighting, confusion, commotion on a daily basis. Because when you do the card,
so it means the process is slow or inadequate.
Slow,
not efficient,
inadequate, cumbersome, inconvenient.
As for the inconvenience part, we can leave it there for now because I'm going to ask a question on it. But you started by talking, you brought in that LI. I was going to raise it later on. But what does the LI, the Electoral Commission LI, what do they want? What is their request?
Okay, thank you. All right, so again, it's important that you allow me to bring some context because if issues are being discussed and the context is not understood, people will not know where we are coming from. Since 1992, before every election, the Electoral Commission brings an LI. An LI is a CI, constitutional instrument.
Sure.
Okay. That constitutional instrument sets out the various modalities by which an election is going to be conducted. So from 92, we've had various CIs, and then if you recall, the MPP boycotted the parliamentary elections in 1992, sorry. So out of that, the various political parties, civil society, the international community decided that because the MPP boycotted the election due to the electoral issues, there was a need for a platform to be created such that the parties can have input into any legislation that was going to be rolled out by the Electoral Commission so that you can get their buy-in, so that the Electoral Commission will not say they're going to do something. When they do it, then it becomes a controversy. But if the parties are involved in the processes and they have their inputs in there, once it comes out, it is their document, because the law says you cannot dictate to the Electoral Commission. But common sense, good governance practices, and conventions also dictate that when you are engaging stakeholders, you need their inputs and their involvement in order for them to be able to accept whatever comes out. So since 1993, anytime there was going to be an election, then that's how IPAC was constituted. So IPAC is the entity that came out with us voting, and after voting, we use transparent ballot boxes instead of opaque ballot boxes. Counting of the ballot papers at the polling centers and declaring them. The use of biometric register, it was an IPAC initiative. Photo ID cards, it was an IPAC initiative. And many, many more initiatives that came from IPAC. And at the IPAC level, there are two committees, a legislative committee and then a technical committee. The legislative committee looks at the draft LI. So now I'm coming to your LI, okay? And then that committee has one representative from the NDC, one representative from the MPP, and then usually one or two representatives from the parties without representation in Parliament. So they make inputs into the LI. Then it is brought to the plenary, that is the whole IPAC. Then it is also looked at before it is sent to the subsidiary legislation committee of Parliament.
Sure.
So when it goes there, they would also look at it. If there are any comments or inputs, they do it, EC takes it back and forth. The way the CI works is that once it is laid in Parliament, the Speaker accepts it and it is laid, you cannot do anything about it again. Within 21 days, it becomes law. So that is the history of CIs. And all the previous CIs that we have had, this has been the process. There is input from the political parties at the committee level, at IPAC. Now, since Madam J. MANSA took office, the last CI 126, it was drafted by the Attorney General. Don't forget that the Attorney General is not an independent party. He was appointed by the president, so he has an interest. The political parties at the committee level did not have an input. With this same CI also, what happened was that we received a letter from the Electoral Commission telling us to nominate 2 people to come and look at the draft CI. We have the letters, I can send them to you. When the letters were received, we nominated Alhaji Hudu Yaya and Honorable Daniel Amate, my deputy, to be the 2 persons to represent us on that committee on the legislation to look at the CI. Alhaji Hudu Yaya was subsequently called and told there was going to be a meeting of that committee. Again, he was called and told the meeting had been rescheduled and he will be called later. After a week, my deputy Daniel Amate again called Dr. Srebo Kwaku, who is in charge of electoral services for the EC. Dr. Kwaku said anytime the meeting was going to be called, they were going to invite our representatives. We didn't hear anything from them again for close to 6 weeks. The next time we knew, a CI had been sent to Parliament without our input. When we raised the issue, they said, oh, the letter that you received was meant for you to nominate people to discuss the modalities of the CI. And we said, but that has not been the practice. The practice has been that right at the committee level, we make inputs into the CI before it comes to IPAC, before it goes to the subsidiary legislation committee. In any case, how does it sound? There's no logic in this, where you have presented a CI, we do not have any input, and you want us to come and discuss modalities for implementing that CI. Meanwhile, the CI is a law that will bind all of us. So if I don't have an input into the CI, and you now say I should come and discuss modalities, you have already put in place laws that may be inimical to our interest. I don't know if you get me. But what is more important is the duplicity and the deceit of the EC.
So in this particular case, the CI, is there anything, does it contain anything that you and your party do not agree with?
Good. Okay, so I'm coming to that. So having laid the foundation, now let's look at the contents of the CI. Now, the CI makes the Ghana card as a sole document for continuous registration. So anybody who turns 18, you are supposed to take your Ghana card and go to the district office of the Electoral Commission and then go and register. Now, on the face of it, the first problem is that the Ghana card has not been deployed to all Ghanaians who are eligible to have it. The enabling law that makes the Ghana card mandatory, the wording, the preamble of the law says a Ghana card that has been issued to any Ghanaian, issued, the operative word is issued. So if the Ghana card has not been issued, then who is supposed to issue it? It is the NIA. If the card has not been issued, the person cannot perform that mandatory function. The person is not bound by the mandatory. Nobody can issue a Ghana card to himself, true or false. The NIA is the entity that must issue the card. The NIA has not been able to issue the card to all Ghanaians who are eligible.
Yes.
The NIA has not been able to tell us the timetable when they will be able to issue the card to all Ghanaians. At the same time, the Electoral Commission, and by extension, the Ministry of Communication, is saying that you must now use that card, which has not yet been issued to all Ghanaians, to go and register.
Right.
So that
in
is the
this
first problem.
particular case, what should be your fight? Not with the NIA, with those who are issuing the cards, so that you push them, you press them, cajole, whatever, for them to make sure that they issue the cards. Because if, on the other hand, the Electoral Commission says this is the only card we are going to use for elections, then it is up to you, the rest of you those who have interest in the whole process, to make sure that, one, the people who are issuing the cards, get on with it and issue the card, and two, make sure that your people, all Ghanaians, actually take interest in having it. That's why I say we should leave the convenience side, because honestly speaking, I've seen lots of these pictures and videos going about where people are so exasperated, they go and wait the whole day, the whole afternoon and everything. But shouldn't there be a national sort of exercise, even if it's through the opposition party, to make sure that people get issued with, and the people who need them or who should have them actually do have them? Then you can leave this argument or this the EC factor, we can even ignore it.
Okay, good. Very good point. So, number one, the NIA as an authority works under the office of the president. The NIA presented a budget of 300 million Ghana cedis or so. So that's what they need for this year. They were given only 180 million. So the NIA has questions to answer. The NIA definitely is a part of this problem, and indeed pressure will be put on them. But if you put pressure on the entity, the NIA, and they say our structures, our logistics, we have only district offices, and they are non-able, and they've said it, that they are not working according to time. You see, the problem is that the NIA is not time-bound. When the NIA was set up, we didn't give any specific time that by this time you should stop, you should be able to finish issuing the cards. Do you understand me? So we will put all the pressure that is required on the NIA, and that is a given. But there is no law anywhere that compels the NIA to finish the issuing of the cards by 2023, 2024. So that's the NIA side. So yes, there is a battle with the NIA, and it's ongoing. And that is why the EC, as reasonable and as what is the purpose of the EC? Because every organization has a purpose and a function. In Ghana, if you want to know the functions of an organization or its purpose, you go to the enabling law that sets it up. And the law that binds all of us is the 1992 Constitution. Okay? Article 42, of the Constitution talks about the Electoral Commission. It says, and one says, every Ghanaian of 18 years of age and of a sound mind has the right to vote and is entitled, please listen to my words very carefully. Every Ghanaian of 18 years and above and of a sound mind has the right to vote. So first of all, it is a right. And then it says, and is entitled to be registered on the voters register to vote. So Electoral Commission, their job is that you must facilitate that right. Because it says it's a right, though. It's not something that it is at the discretion of anybody.
Yeah, it's not a privilege, it's a right. But you see, I'm still wondering, have you haven't?
If I finish my point, bro, okay, I am on the EC. Hello, MUSA, I beg you.
Go ahead.
You see, these are technical issues. I need to take time to explain them properly so your listeners will understand. So if you could handle, just let me land on this point, then you get where I'm coming from. Right. So the person has a right to vote. The person is entitled. Then 45E says that and it talks about the duties and functions of the Electoral Commission. It says that the Electoral Commission has to put in place mechanisms for the expansion of the voters register. So if by logic, by extrapolation, the Electoral Commission brings out legislature, a CI, and the CI says that the sole document, solo, and in the past, there were other documents. If you don't have the NIA card, you can have your passport, you can have your driving license, there's a guarantee system. The EC is now saying that all these things, they are taking them out. There's no guarantee system, there's no passport, there's no driving license, it is only the NIA card. The NIA card too, the people who are supposed to get it, a lot of them have not received it. Do you see the country now? So if you
I see it, but I want to play a devil's advocate here, Mr. Honorable Elvis.
It must be a reasonable devil. The devil doesn't do anything
I want
right.
to. The point is, I'm still not convinced about.
So it must be a reasonable devil.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's a madman's advocate.
Okay.
So I'm listening.
Right. Okay. Let's see if this one is going to be a reasonable one. But you see, someone has to demonstrate to me that the EC is deliberately, coming out with this sort of ultimatum, or the actions of the EC is deliberate to defranchise some certain Ghanaians. That has not been proven to me that is deliberate. They are saying that we are going to use this particular document, the sole sort of criteria, in order to be able to vote. Now, if that's the case, is it not the work rather should be that the cards must be made and given to people, and if getting to the closer to the election, about let's say 90 to 95 to 96, maybe 98% of people, at least we should say that 98% of people who are eligible to vote should have those cards. Shouldn't the fight, the energy, the efforts go into making sure that the cards are actually made and given to people instead of fighting the EC? Because to be fair to them, if they want to remove all these other documents and get one simple single document, I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
No, that is where your argument is not reasonable, because the EC is not an island. The EC operates in a global environment.
Sure.
The UK, that you are there, there is no country in this world that when you are doing identity documents, you don't have a backup. If you can show me one, just one, I dare you now, show me. There is no country in the world globally. When you're doing requirements for identification, you have the primary document, and then you have a backup. So that if for any reason, beyond the control of somebody, or for whatever reason, that somebody does not have it, there must be a backup. And that is why we're saying that minimum guarantor system. But the EC is saying no. Again, the EC is not working in space. They are working within the environment of Ghana. So if you are working within the environment of Ghana, and if there's no ulterior motive, you are supposed to be rational and analytical in whatever you do. Your actions, would give people reason to believe whether you are being objective or you have other motives. You yourself know that the Ghana card is not available to all Ghanaians. You've been talking about 98%, 99%. It has to be 100%. Do you know why? Because in the Supreme Court, 10 Adi versus Electoral Commission, there is a ruling that if one person is not registered, there's a ruling precedent that that person has to be registered. 10 Adi, they were going to do district assembly elections. He came, they said the register has been closed. He went to court, the court ruled that the register must be open for him. So the Supreme Court, there's law. The law makes it mandatory for every person who wants to be registered to be registered. So even if it's 1%, that's number one. Number two, the Ghana card is being done by the NIA. The NIA has told you just last week in the face of SIM cards, that they are not bound by deadlines. Hello? Hello? The NIA, just last week, says we are not bound by deadlines. The act that established that did not give us a deadline. So if you base the voters register on a deadline, a document that a third party has to produce, and that party hasn't got a deadline.
I'm getting worried here that
the process. Let me finish, please.
Ghana,
I need to make my point and land.
I will let you land. No, I'll give you. We have time. Don't worry. Honorable, my problem here is that...
Yeah, but if I'm making my point, it's important that I land.
Please do.
When I
please
land,
do.
You can ask the question.
Please do.
You understand me?
I get you.
Yes, these are very important issues. So I'm saying that if the NIA, which is supposed to produce the card, says that, look, by the law that sets me up, I'm not bound by your time. So you are saying 98%, 99%, assuming, and it is very possible that by 2024, because the NIA has had time, the NIA, but the law says within 4 months, 120 days of somebody registering, the person must receive his card. The NIA over the past 4-6 years has not been able to do that. So what is the guarantee that they'll be able to do it in 2 years? I mean, we must be reasonable. We must do analysis, objective analysis. You understand me? So the NIA that is supposed to deliver the card has told you just last week that this same card that you are bringing, you've given a deadline. I am not bound by it. Another agency under the same government is saying that, oh, this card is the one that you are going to use. Can't we put the two together and arrive at reasonable, logical conclusions? So you can ask your question now.
Okay. My question is, isn't it sad that, it looks as if the type of governance being provided to our people, Ghanaians, is rather very inefficient, inadequate. I mean, completely, how do I say it? It looks as if two government, or let's say public entities, cannot come together to work out some sort of a sound architecture to make sure that things do work. For instance, if the Electoral Commission wants to use the card as a sole, what we call it, identification for anyone who wants to take part in elections, isn't it up to the NIA people? Can't we as Ghana, can't we ask them to come out to tell us by the end of, let's say, by middle of 2024, how many, percentage-wise, of Ghanaians would have had these cards, so that we can, extrapolate, like you are saying, we can see if it is possible that we, then go back to go and convince the Electoral Commission that, look, this your proposal might not work, so we've got to be flexible. Just to argue about it anyway this time. I don't think it's the whole governance, including opposition, everybody, the governance given to the society, I see it as very inadequate. I don't know what to say to that.
Well, that's your commentary. I want to stick to the facts and allow our viewers to draw their own conclusions. When it's time to do the politics, I'll get into that. But it's important that we state the facts, and then we analyze the facts, and then do the deductions out of the facts. What you are saying is okay, but it is okay. What if? That's okay. That's for another time. What we are saying is that the NIA, one would wish if every Ghanaian who is eligible has received their cards, and you say you want to use that, no, there's no problem. There's nothing to argue about. The NIA, by their law, it says 120 days within people receiving, taking their biometric, they must receive their cards. Over 4 years and counting, people have not received their cards. So my brother, is it reasonable to expect that such an entity who has a mandate, says the law says within 120 days, the person must receive their cards. Has had 4 years. Millions of people have not received their cards. Few weeks ago, when another government agency came and said that they wanted to use a particular card compulsory, they said, we are not bound. So, I mean, it's so clear to me. And that is why we are saying that the EC is in Ghana, knowing that a few weeks ago, this was the posturing of the NIA when it came to that. Why are they insisting that that is the only card that they want to use? There must be something. When they know, they don't have control over when the NIA will finish their job. I think any reasonable person will see that there's a problem. So let me give an analogy. Let's just say that Ghana Civil Aviation Authority says they are going to build airports in every district, okay? And then the EC says, okay, the results from the various constituencies, we don't get them on time. So now we want the results to come by air from every district capital. Do you understand me? Because civil aviation has started a process of building airports. So they put that into law. And mind you, once the EC makes the law, it becomes binding. You cannot go back to it.
Sure.
And change it. Then based on that, they make a CI. All results will be flown from district capitals. And then at the end of the day, Ghana Civil Aviation Authority is able to do only half or 2/3. Meanwhile, the law has been passed. If something goes wrong, who are you going to hold responsible? Apart from holding somebody responsible, any reasonable thinking person, don't you think that it is better to prevent such a catastrophe by doing the analysis and saying, look, yes, civil aviation says they are building airports, but they are in the process. Even the ones they say they are building, they are not meeting their targets. So you cannot tie your duties, which are constitutionally mandated, to another entity whose functions you don't have control of. Is that not a reasonable extrapolation to do? Do you understand me?
But we have to prove that there is something
there
underhand as well. That is the problem we are going to face. How do we prove that they have, like your own words, there's something behind that proposal?
Take your time. I'm taking my time to build the case. So
a quick one before my producer wants me to say this. A quick one. Anyone, people who are sending me messages, yes. If you want to join in by phone, 07956 266 936 or 07960 314 868. These two numbers, if you call, surely I'll pick you. And you can use the stream as well. We got a stream link that you can use to call. If you call your picture, make sure you dress nicely. Yeah, your picture, you'll be on the TV as well. So that's it. Honorable, sorry, please take it away. Go. Let's go.
Yes, sir. Sure. So I'm saying that apart from this, there are a number of internal inconsistencies with the CI. First of all, they have designated, it's important to make this point. Whenever CIs are passed, we don't have a separate CI for continuous registration, a separate CI for limited registration, and a separate CI for mass registration. Whenever a CI is passed, that CI governs the entire registration process. So at any given time, when the Electoral Commission sends a CI to Parliament, that law becomes the law that will govern all your elections. Okay? In the wording of this CI, they talk about continuous registration, but they are silent on limited registration, and then they are silent on mass registration. Therefore, you can conclude safely, because it's a law. Once it's passed, everything in it, you can't take some and leave some. So whatever is in it, the processes and procedures for registration is what is going to continue in all other subsequent registrations. In this particular CI, section 33, 1, 2, 3, it revokes CI 91, it revokes CI 126, which are the previous CIs by which the elections were held. By revoking CI 91 and CI 92, 126, it means that the law that formed the basis for the current register has been revoked. So this CI becomes the only relevant law. And then in 3, it says that this CI 91 and 126 have been revoked until such a time that the EC will produce a new register. So if you are not contemplating the production of a new register, why do you have that kind of wording?
I see.
You see, so it's a trap.
I see.
All right? So on one hand, at the beginning, they're saying that Ghana card is the only card that can be used or valid for registration. Then down there in 33, they say that CI 91, CI 126, that formed the basis of the current register has been revoked. And then they add that it is preserved until the compilation of a new register. And then you go back to Abu Ramadan. Abu Ramadan went to court and said that some time ago, the National Health Insurance Card was used to register people. Now, the National Health Insurance Card has been removed. So the first leg of his legal protest was that the NHI card should be removed as one of the cards that are relevant for registration because the processes of acquiring them are not as rigorous, and therefore non-Ghanaians could have access. The Supreme Court ruled in his favor. Then he went ahead again and said, and went to the court and said, because the NIA card is illegal under the new CI, based on the ruling of the Supreme Court, all those who registered with the NIA card must be removed from the register. And the Supreme Court ruled that indeed they should be removed. And over 100 and something thousand people were removed from the register. Now, based on that precedent, with the current law as it stands now, what will happen is that once it is passed and the CIs 191 and 126 are revoked, this current CI becomes the relevant CI that governs elections. Somebody will go to court and say the NIA card is the sole card for registering of Ghanaians. Any other card is illegal. So two things will happen. One, we do a new register or validation. So bring your Ghana card and then come and validate. So if you don't have a Ghana card, your name will be struck out. It amounts to doing a register again. You see, we have been here. We have been involved in these things. So when we say these things, we are not just saying them out of the blue. I've shown you the legal loopholes. I've shown you the antecedents and the precedents. Now I'll give you a case study, practical, for you to know that when we say that we can't take the Electoral Commission at face value because they don't have integrity, there's a basis. 2020 elections, a CI was passed. When there's a CI, there are attachments and annexures. So there is one of the forms which we call the results declaration form. That form is attached and sent to Parliament. The parliamentarians scrutinize them. When they scrutinize them, if they have any corrections, they do it before it is finally laid. Once it is laid, it is binding on all Ghanaians. So in 2020, all the forms attached were sent to Parliament, they were scrutinized, they were laid, they were approved, they became law. We did the special voting on the 1st of December. After the special voting, we went for a review meeting on the 2nd of December. We discovered to our amazement that the results declaration form had been changed. There is a column where you do what we call ballot accounting. So that column, when you come to the polling station in the morning, the number of ballots that have been brought, whether they are 50 ballots, 100 ballots, 200 ballots, it is registered there. And then at the close of polls, before the results are counted, you do ballot accounting again. So based on the number of votes that you, ballot papers that came in the morning, when you close, if there are any extras, you do the accounting. And then you now count. So when you count, you will be able to know whether there are excess ballots that are not supposed to be there. Because if in the morning you counted and maybe there were 50 booklets, 50, 100 booklets, 20, 20 booklets, 30, you know the total. When you close, if some remained, you notice there. So if you count the ballot papers in the ballot box and it doesn't match, then you know that there's a problem. That column had been removed from the from that form.
I see.
It became a big issue.
So let's come back to the LI and how it's going to fare in the parliament. Before then, my producer, someone is alerting me that one of our telephone numbers on the screen is wrong. I have checked. I think the fellow is right. So, Mr. Producer, make sure our telephone numbers. The very first one, I think there's extra 7, which shouldn't be there. So kindly let us know what's up. We can change. Anyway, thank you very much, Kwesi, who sent me the message. Thank you very much. Right. So, Miss Honorable, the LI, how is it going to fare in Parliament? How do you see it?
So, first of all, the Subsidiary Legislation Committee is chaired by Honorable Dominic Ayini, who is a member of the NDC. And it is the NDC members of Parliament that detected some of these things together with us in the party that have drawn attention to it. And we stated clearly that the LI as it is today will not go through. We are not prepared to go along with the LI. It must be taken back. Further consultations must be held with various stakeholders. Now, there's a very important point. I had already told you that at IPAC, there are 2 subcommittees, Legislative Committee and the Legal Committee. And that what happens is that these committees are the ones who do a pre-look at the document, make inputs before it goes to plenary, then it goes to Parliament. In this instance, the committee that was set up, for which we were invited, but later on uninvited, and therefore we've never been part of it, for the first time in the history of this country, the representation is NDC 1, MPP 1, parties without representation in Parliament 3, and then CSOs, unknown CSOs 3. So you see the whole thing. So when somebody is saying that, no, the Electoral Commission is up to something, these are the things that give an indication, because which reasonable person, NDC, we had 137 seats, MPP, we have 137 seats. So you give us 1 each. Parties that are not in Parliament, you give them 3. Does it make sense to you? Does this make sense to you? Since 1993, where we've had this process, NDC 1, MPP 1, parties without representation 1 or 2, for the first time. So it gives credence to the fact that they are pushing an agenda. And what I was saying that you catch, it's very relevant. You know, the relevance of it is that when the Chief of Staff and the Minister of National Security directed the Electoral Commissioner, Madam J. MANSA, that go back and do the results declaration forms the way that it was agreed in Parliament, because it can jeopardize the entire election. We woke up on the 6th of December, the last day before the elections, when we were going to check on these documents for the final time. And to our amazement, we realized that they had rather introduced stamps in those columns. And after the election, when we did the ballot accounting, what we realized that in many instances, many of the pink sheets didn't have those stamps. Some that had the stamps, they were not filled. Some were filled and they were not signed. The effect of this is that the ballot accounting, that serves as a measure to check whether there's been extra ballots put in any ballot box. That column was removed. And most of this was in
any case, you feel that the way the LI is structured will not pass in Parliament. There's a caller who has just we do allow calls every now and again. So let's.
It's not a feeling, no.
Sorry, let's listen to the caller. I think he has a question. I don't know who it is.
Okay.
Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to Home TV.
Good afternoon. Is that MANSA MUSA?
This is MANSA MUSA, and you are speaking
the
live.
Almighty MANSA MUSA, greetings. Honorable Afriankra, greetings. My name is Kwesi. Can you hear me?
Thank you. Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Afriankra, I'm giving you just one or two suggestions. You know, NPP as a political party in Ghana, they should not believe them one bit. Do you remember one day you came to UK? This group of people, those in UK here, were accusing even you that you chop KK, 16,000 pounds. Do you remember that story?
No, they said, it's not just KK. They said coconut, $1,000.
No, they said, you said you chopped KK, 16,000. This group, this MPP, clueless government in power. Afia, let me go to my submission. I want to beg you and the leadership in Ghana. 2024, we mean business. So we beg the leadership. The area of the lecture area, the branches, bullying at the lecture area, these three things, but the use of security to snatch results is something that is bothering a lot of us. So we want to plead with you, the leadership, that whatever it takes to put this in place, you guys have to do it. We thank you for educating us on this CI. See, Nana Akufo-Addo, that man, whatever you want to do, he doesn't listen to anybody. So the party should stand firm and make sure that all these areas, all the gaps within the branch levels, you educate them. You need to stand firm and make sure we stop the bullying at the lecture area. That's only addition I'll give to whatever you have said so far. Thank you so much, and God bless you, Afriankra.
Thank you very much, my senior brother. God bless you too.
Thank you, you're the caller. Right, so let's come on to the general SIM card registration. So now if one does not register his or her SIM card, that means you cannot have the Ghana card, or is it vice versa? I don't know. Which is which? Which comes first?
Right. You need the Ghana card to be able to go and register your SIM card. Okay? Now, as I've been arguing all morning, the Ghana card has not been deployed to all Ghanaians who are entitled to have it. 2, the entity that is supposed to deploy the Ghana card has come out publicly to say that its deployment is not time-bound. And so there is no guarantee that by September, every Ghanaian who has a number, who is even ready and willing to go and register, will have his Ghana card. And that will not be the fault of that Ghanaian. And yes, Uslawusu is threatening that if by September you haven't registered, your card will be cancelled. You see the contradiction. Thirdly, in UK, I am sure that you never went to queue at Vodafone or any of those places to register your card, right? These things can be done through apps or by other systems. What it means is that Uslawusu is actually building a separate database. Do you understand me? Because the telcos should be able to register your cards for you. And they will be the ones who build the database. And then over time, they can weed out those who do not have the relevant documentation. But by what Ursula is doing, she's also building her own database. And you will ask yourself, what will be the purpose of that database? Because we also are aware of the Pegasus software built by the Israelis, by which spying is done on people. So what is going to happen is that the NCA is going to have the database. With me, for instance, I'm a target, so they have my number. President Mama is a target. Many of us are targets. So they'll plug it into the Pegasus system, and then they'll be spying on you, your calls, your WhatsApp messages.
That is a very poignant a comment you've made. I was come to it, but there is somebody at the end of that telephone again. Let's listen to either him or her. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, MANSA.
Afternoon. Yes. Home and your home office. Home TV now. MANSA MUSA many workers say. Who is this? Why need?
MANSA MUSA, can you hear me, please?
Yeah, I can hear you. Tell us your name.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon. Where are you calling from? Hello.
Sabato, please, from Slough.
Okay. Sabato, let's go.
Okay. Sure.
Okay. I would like to ask Honorable Afriyanka. Let's say it happens, I'm in Ghana, and registration is going on, and I don't have a Ghana card. How do I register?
Well, from the LICI that the EC has sent to Parliament, you cannot register. Simple as that. That's what it means. And that's why we are raising issues. That is a very unreasonable position and posture to take. Because globally, all over the world, there are global standards and global best practices when it comes to identity management. And one of them is that you would have your primary document, but you should also have a backup. And in Ghana, the backup has been the guarantee system. So that for any reason, and again, we've shown that many people are willing to get a Ghana card, but the NIA is unable to because of constraints, incompetence, whatever it is. They are unable to, and there is no guarantee that they will be able to by 2024. And that is why any reasonable person who doesn't have any ulterior motive, who genuinely wants people to register to go and vote, would allow for a guarantee system at least, or any other secondary mode of identification. All over the world, all over. You can check. There is no anywhere, Kosovo, Kaya, Moldavia, nowhere. That when it comes to identity registration, it is only one single document. And that document, that the entity that is supposed to deploy that document has not been able to, has come out publicly to say they are not time bound and they will not be able to. And you want to insist that that should be the only document? And when we say there's an ulterior motive, you say, my brother says devil's advocate. Which devil is that? We should cast that bloody devil out, man.
I see. All right. Any more questions, Mr. Sabato?
It's sad.
Yeah, MANSA MUSA, what I want to add is, you know, our opponents on the other side, we know them and they know us. So what I will suggest is that we need to be ahead, although we are protesting, although we are making sense, but we can still appeal to our bases that they need to go and register. If we need to go in and help them so that they can acquire the Ghana card. For instance, my constituency, Mr. Afriyanka, like New Edibiasi constituency, some of the villages, there is no even network, not to talk about how they can go and register over there. It's for us to maybe mobilize them and then bring them to the various offices so that they can register. I know, like, maybe they just wanted to disenfranchise some of our areas so that it will favor them. But as we are going forward, we can also be a little bit ahead of them. And also, on the election day, because the last election, I was on some of the polling stations that I noticed some of the polling agents, they cannot even read, not to talk of writing the figures and those kind of things. I think those are the areas that we also need to check moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. Right, so there are, you see, these are questions that I would have loved to ask the electoral commission. I have all their numbers and their contacts, but as it is, they will never answer your phone, or they wouldn't like to come and join or talk to anybody. Okay, this man is worried. He said your second line is not going through. Yes, sir.
Hello, my brother.
Yeah.
I think we should be rounding up because, you know, I
You need
I
to
give
travel.
myself
Okay.
an hour, and we've done like an hour and a half.
I guess, yeah.
Yes,
I guess you have given a lot of. But let me ask you this: in all this, before you do your politics and leave, you see, with all this registration, the cards and everything, what is happening? Has anyone thought of the civil rights and the data protection issues about this? Because these cards, these data, these documents, the information, who actually keeps them? Who controls them? Who works with them? Is it internal, local, or external? Has anyone come out to explain to Ghanaians how these data, this information collated will be saved, secured, protected?
Yeah, that's another dimension that is beginning to emerge, because only last week or so I saw a publication that said that even the code, the key to the software to one of the systems actually belongs to another country. But I don't have much information on that. But what I want to reiterate what the earlier caller said, that in spite of all this, we are encouraging our people to go and register. And we've actually issued directives to our party people all across the country, and indeed to every Ghanaian, go and get your Ghana card. That is something we cannot emphasize enough. But you see, if we say that alone, and we don't look at the circumstances and the environment, we will also be putting a wrong burden on the people and on ourselves. Because somebody has just told you, in some places they don't even have network. And the issuance of the card is not in our hands. We don't have control over it.
Sure.
So if, one, it is deliberate, okay, to disenfranchise some particular communities, you don't have control over it. So you may want to, you may be willing, but it will not be done. So in as much as we are encouraging people, we are doing whatever it is that we can, we have to look at that dimension as well, that public attention must be focused on the NIA to create the enabling environment for people to register. If, for example, the reports you are hearing that some districts where they perceive to be NDC strongholds, they'll tell you if you register 25, 40 people, say the machine has broken down. If these are being done on a deliberate basis, and if like a place like Adakru, Honorable Kwame Abuja's place, less than 20% of the people have been registered as at now, those are factors you don't have control over. So even though you may be willing and ready and able, and you may have sent people to go and register and all that, that's why we are seeing all these queues. So it's important that we look at the things from the proper perspective. Yes, we are encouraging people, go and register and vote. We go and register and get a Ghana card. People are doing whatever it takes. But when the one who is supposed to deliver the end product hasn't got the resources, or refuses to release the resources, or for whatever reason decides to put impediments in place, and there's no network which he has no control of, and all those things, those are factors that must be factored into the equation. You cannot look at the thing just out of its true context. MUSA,
yes,
I have to leave.
Yeah. So the question was about the the data protection and the civil rights and the rest. No one has come out to actually to assure Ghanaians that, look, this will be kept, and will be handled by very responsible people, or not?
I haven't heard any such thing. Okay. But this debate is an ongoing debate,
ongoing.
And I'm sure
that is very. You guys should take that very serious. I have another caller on here, so maybe we take the last call, then I will let you go. Hello.
Hello, MUSA.
Oh, hello. Good afternoon. Is that Kwesi?
Yes, this is Kwesi.
Okay. Go ahead.
And good afternoon to Honorable Mr. Friankra.
Thank you very much, my brother. Good afternoon.
Okay. MUSA, indeed, I believe that much as we would want to push the NIA to do its work, we all know that the law that sets it up does not rush the NIA. They are not time bound. It is a fact.
Yeah, but they should be efficient.
Efficiency.
They cannot just say that we are not time bomb and we look. We can do it as much as we can take on. But we are look. The point here. Let me make a point here. Let me make a point here. Let me make a point here. You see, the politics of this is different. The politics of this is different from the reality. The point is, if it is money and resources, let's resource them and make sure they work efficiently.
Let me speak.
Go ahead. Okay.
Oh. Anyway, why I'm saying this is that the budget of this same NIA that they took to Parliament, what happened to it? They slashed it into two. So the thing is not there. How do you force it to do whatever they... I mean, they are working with the resources. They need money to do something. Recently, we heard that they've run out of blank cards. In that situation, if you don't give them the money to go and procure new blank cards, how can you force them to produce cards for people? You cannot. And the whole thing is that this particular government, any policy they push through, is either they are going to benefit financially or politically. If not, then forget it.
Exactly.
Yes, if not, forget it. Look, all that is going on is just a charade. They have planned everything behind the scenes. They want to rig the election. It's as simple as that. MUSA, if you quite remember, before 2020 elections, when we were in COVID, and there was this debate that they wanted to do a new voter register. We said, but the one that brought you into office in 2016 is there. There's no problem with it. In fact, but MANSA went to Parliament. They asked her whether there was a problem.
My guest will want to go, so I don't know if it's a question to him. If it's about our own discussion, then I will give you the time.
No, it's not about our own discussion. I have a question to ask.
Okay, please, yeah, because he needs to.
I know. What I'm saying is that the EC can never be trusted. If you remember. This man, who is one of the deputy directors, I listened to him live on one of the three speaking radio stations. When finally, they didn't listen to anyone, they went into, they said we're going to do the new register. He was asked, what about those who are already on the old register? That was the one they used in 2016. He said, people can come with their old voter register to be used to be registered onto the new one they were going to do. What happened when the time came? They rejected it. So these people are not people to be trusted. Look, MUSA, I get scared anytime this EC makes a move to do something because they can never be trusted. Honorable Evisa Afiyankra, my question to you, and before the question, the whole Ghana is looking up to the NDC to save them because all institutions have been compromised. All institutions, including the EC itself, and then maybe Parliament. But you talk about any institution, governance institution in Ghana has been compromised.
The question, I beg you.
So what is the assurance? Because once we allow this CI, because that CI, when I hear things in it, they are loaded. There are things they are hiding in the CI. So what is the guarantee that we are going to fight this CI before? Not allowing it to be laid in its current form. Because once they do it, I know they are going to prepare a new register and they are going to use this Ghana card to do it. What is the guarantee? Because Ghana, as we speak now, Ghana is looking up to the NDC to save the country. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Let me add everything so that you can, when you finish, at least you can have your rest. And that is, just
I'm
to
not
add
resting. I have to move. People are waiting for me. I beg you.
Exactly. Just to add what he has just said, that look, it looks as if you people yourself, you are helpless. I mean, exactly what can you do? Because, like you said, institutions, all of them have been compromised, allegedly. And you guys, in a nice way, you guys are fighting a losing battle, aren't you?
It is comments like this from people like you, who are media people, who are supposed to educate and inform. Of course, I know you are playing the so-called devil's advocate. Okay. That has led us to where we are today. Because democracy is a struggle. I have been a student leader, and let me just give this analogy. You can never get anything meaningful without a struggle. If we think that we will be able to move these MPP people out of office in comfort, then we are joking. Some of us, we know them, we have dealt with them, and we are prepared to do whatever it takes. And that is the message I'm giving to all of us at various levels of leadership, from parliament to the party structures. It is not going to be easy, but so should it be. Nkrumah we did not win independence by struggle, by being comfortable. It was a struggle.
Sure.
And all Ghanaians were involved, including media. You have a platform. When you get the platform, use it to educate Ghanaians. Use it to conscientize Ghanaians. Don't use it to discourage them and tell them it's a losing battle. It is never a losing battle. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in that at all. They are not from outer space. They don't have more in their head than the rest of us. When we decide, we come together as a people and we say this is what we want. Well, we're not able to stop them from doing the changing the constitution for the voting of MMDCs. We stopped them. Is it not the same government? When I was a student leader, one time we were negotiating for student loan. We went to Ministry of Finance meetings 5 times, 7 times, 6 times. They will not mind us. They were treated as well. One day I moved the entire student body and went and occupied the Ministry of Finance. We took over the place, took over the offices, the whole place. It was an unorthodox method, but we got our results. It will come to a point, if they refuse to listen to reason, we have to use unorthodox methods to get them to listen. I rest my case.
I see. Listen, you've done very well this afternoon. Any message for your people in UK?
I think the last point I made is enough. I don't want to dilute it.
I thought you were going to say you will see them soon one of these days. That's what I thought you were going to say. But since you want to keep it as a secret, we will leave it as that.
No, I think I've made my point.
Yeah. Honorable Elvis Friankra, thank you very much. And I wish you all the best in all your endeavors as well. Thank you for your time.
It is. All right. Thank you. God bless you.
Right. So we'll go for a short break. Then after that, we'll come. I think there's a gentleman standby in Accra somewhere. He's an economist who want to say one or two. I'll see if I can get him to say one or two. But for now, you are watching MANSA MUSA here at home TV with my producer, the Don himself. Let's go for a short commercial break. We'll be back.
We are so baby no for na so man hwa wo de bo pay man wo na kan hu say wo do to abro so wo tan yem ansa nya dwuma no enidi ITS Pro Center me de me fan ITS Pro ayese say bia ya tete nkrofo ya ma SIA license na betimi de euro security na wo de akopa adwuma wo hwese de na nkofo adwuma sai no wonya adwuma ba bia me kan fama wo aye ITS Pro Center. What any better amount here? Na unsa ka certificate. Enti adeti na esa wo tena na aka chem se wonya adwuma ye. ITS Pro Training Center no. Enya SI nkwa na ye o. Ye CSCS card so aka ho. CSCS card no so no. Just 1 day training pep. Na wo wie so a unsa besa ka health and safety certificate so. Enti what why dey? Enti hwankrofo agyina ho yi. Omo wie wo training. Omo akwakosha adwuma se wo site. Etimi no me for. Moti wo ye den. Enne ya wate me kan. Bomodia na frey. Awasa numbers we so. 079 04 68 6944 079 04 68 6944. Bomodia na frey ne ya. ITS Pro Training Center. Address And the found some you are. But so bet me a rock construction and security. And to the praying, Naya Kawakasa. Yes, out of Casanso. Training center we. Nasaki training center we. 2 years with some custard you get down your Juma.
Come back to Home TV here this afternoon to the program. We say the truth, nothing but the truth here, and it's me, MUSA. Today we are discussing the registration of SIM card, this SIM card, that, and I mean there's so much registration going on in Ghana, so much identification process, you know. And for me, MUSA, and for those of us here in the UK and abroad, we take these things for granted. You know, government here in the UK, the government is supposed to hold the data for all the citizens, and the citizens do not take this lightly. They don't just give the government straight away, what do we call it, carte blanche sort of, that means blank check or blank paper for the government to do whatever they want. Rather, they make sure that the citizens are assured that their data, their, you know, their name, their addresses, their telephone numbers, their date of birth, their medical report, and health issues, and all those data are kept properly. You see, that's what we call the data protection situation. In Ghana, it looks as if all this registration and all this, you know, making of cars and bringing in left, right, and center. But very little is being said about the civil rights implications about these sort of things. This afternoon, I had Honorable Afriye Ankra Elvis to come and discuss. In fact, he is a pure politician with the NDC, and he is the election, what do we call it? The election director for the NDC. But we were able to, you know, bring him in here to come and explain some few issues that are bothering he himself and the NDC. The NDC is not happy with some proposals, apparently, according to, you know, that issues concerning registration of citizens for the 2024 election. The thing is, you see, 2024 might seem very far, but already, as you can see, Ghanaian politicians are very much particular. They can't, you know, they just want things clarified. The opposition is not happy. The opposition thinks that the Electoral Commission is in some sort of arrangement with the ruling party, and to that effect, they are not genuinely neutral. So, you see, in all those, for me, I would advise the NDC to concentrate more on making sure that a lot of people register. If the card that they are going, that they should make sure that the people get a card. But then, having said that, Free Ankra also said, by the looks of things, this LI, the legislative instrument, or is it? Yeah, that the okay, thank you. That the Electoral Commission have sent to Parliament may not go through in its current form. Hopefully, okay, but it's a shame that the ways and means, the shenanigans, the things that especially African politicians have to do, want to do in order to gain power. You see, it's a shame. Look, Senegal, is it Senegal? No, Sierra Leone recently, 2-3 days ago, they had a massive demonstration against high cost of living, prices of goods, and all that. Loads of people, and about 23 of them were shot by the military police or whatever. They just killed. In Africa, you have a demonstration and you got to be killed because the ruling party, the president, think, okay, it is the opposition that has organized this thing. You see, the opposition, of course, opposition will take advantage of any unrest or any dissatisfaction from the masses or from the citizens. And in Africa, it always end up, people being killed, people being shot, which is a shame. And so I'm appealing to all stakeholders in Ghana to be very circumspect of what is really going on. Because if you listen to the NDC people, they are not happy at all. I think there's a call coming. I'll pick that call and we'll see. Take it from there. Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to Home TV.
Good afternoon.
Yes, sir.
Boss.
Yes.
Can I have a word with MANSA MUSA, please?
Yes, MANSA MUSA speaking. Talk to me.
Oh, MANSA MUSA, good afternoon. It's me, Kwesi. I'm back.
You are. Don't forget you are online. You are on air.
Okay, thank you so much. MANSA MUSA, let me give a bit of. It's been a while since I joined your program, and I think some of my cherished listeners, myself, they should forgive me. I decided to take a back seat for some time. Musa, thank you so much for bringing Afri Ankara to come and educate us on this CI 92 and 91 issue. But sometimes, like you were saying, you see, the politics back home in Ghana, Musa, this current group in government, this MPP group, I don't think they will listen to anything. 8 people died out of election 2020. What has happened to it? Nothing. Sir, a group of people within a constituency, they couldn't vote. Till date, Master Musa, what has happened? Nothing. So you see, the group we have, you see, NPP as a political party, they dwell in division to survive. Go to history and read NPP tradition from JB Dankwa to date. It is a thing that Akufo-Addo is going to stop that division, just allowing them to try. They will not stop. So what the new NDC should do is that they should go to the ground. We should go to the field, the branches. We should forget about this head office business and go to the branches. We need to have the resources to go and train the branch executives. Election must be won at the election and at the branch level. This is what should be in 2024. No more issue of somebody sitting in office that, look, I'm a chairman this, I'm a secretary this. No, we are not interested. We want to win power. If you think you are chairman, you want to sit in the office and operate there, stay there and operate. Some of them, Mansa Musa, we don't want to hear this story again. MPP are bent in staying in power. So it is time we find a way to stop them. They are bent, whatever they will do, because this Ghana cutting, they started planning it not today, Mansa Musa. It is not today.
For me, I would have thought that the fight should rather go to whoever is producing and providing the Ghana card. You see, and then we leave the CI or LICI to the parliament, what they will decide. But the card, card issuer should work efficiently.
Mansa Musa, like you are saying, this NI card, what has that one got to do with the Electoral Commission? You are providing identity card for Ghanaians. And you need to stretch it to when you finish to make sure every Ghanaian gets identity card. As simple as that. So you don't have to put any timeline. Because to give the people card, give it to them. Electoral Commissioner, last 2020, you produced voter ID card. You spend huge sums of money. So all what you do is to improve on it, Musa. Those who have attained 18 and above, find a way and add them to the register. Musa, I spoke to a colleague in Ghana. I said, look, somebody should go to court and challenge this birth certificate issue back again. Our judges who decided that birth certificate is not the primary source of document. It's so bizarre, Mansa Musa. How can you stay in country and say that birth certificate is not the source document? And we all sit there and we are laughing, and some of the MPP brothers and sisters are also laughing because they think they want a leeway to win election. Musa, is it an election we are doing or a nation we are building? You build a nation through systems, not through somebody's or single man's idea. Nana Akufo-Addo as a president has got the privilege to be a president. We thank him, he's our president. But whatever Nana Akufo-Addo does before he leaves office, it should leave a legacy behind. It should create division and confusion in the country. Every day election, every day registration. Ghanaians are sick and tired, Musa. Ghanaians want development, Musa. Ghanaians want roads. You see, the reason why these days I've stayed back, I don't come to radio. You see, sometimes I call in state radio, there's somebody who call you, say, oh, I'm not an MPP man, but I'm speaking my mind. This is not what some of us want, Musa. Me question, when I come to your radio and I'm debating somebody, I want to make sure that whatever we discuss is about the country Ghana. I am a political animal, yes. But when it comes to politics and development in Ghana, Ghana first.
Okay.
So I would like to thank you for giving me this opportunity. And I hope that bring the key guys and some of the MPP ministers. Why are they afraid to come onto your platform? Why? People like Napo, people like all those big people who are in Ghana, MPP, they should come to this your platform. Then some of us will come and debate them or ask them questions. They should come. MPP, you are in power. Your minister. This now they've got a new chairman in the person of what's his name? Wafake. Wafake, we beg you, tell your ministers back home that they should come to this UK platform. We want to listen to them. We, the diasporans, we want to listen to what they are doing with our money back home. They should come and talk to us. Some of us, we still send money back home. We pay tax in Ghana. What are they doing? They should come to the platform. Then we will engage them. Enough of this sort of game they are playing with Ghanaians. Thank you and God bless you for giving me this second opportunity, Musa.
Thank you too. Thank you very much. Right. So this is where, unfortunately, we got. I have to say unfortunately because the game is getting hotter. I had one economist in Accra I was going to talk to, but the time is already far spent. So I'll rearrange with him, and we are going to. I know he's watching me now, Mr. Eja. What's his name? Let me look at the name properly. Yankee, Eja Yankee. Nyamebwa next week Sunday. Better time. Na yedi nkomo ye. I wish you all the best this afternoon, and wherever you are watching, for whatever you are doing, you should know that it is all about Ghana, and we want peace, we want prosperity, we want improvement in people's lives. The Ecos of Africa, especially below the Sahara Belt, is rather unfortunate. I just say the Papa Bia anywhere Ecos I can actually Shelter Ajua is asking who is speaking. Sorry, Shelter, you came a bit late. Mr. Free Ankara was here, and there's somebody on there. Okay. Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to Home TV.
Good afternoon, Mansa Musa. Sorry, it's me again, Kwesi.
Okay.
See, Mansa Musa, elections, they are processes that lead to the day of casting of votes. And so we can't say an election is an event, it's a process. And then sometimes the process leading to the day of casting votes, if you take your eyes off it, you will just lose the elections easily. You see, the CI that has been taken to Parliament now has become...
I have just 1 minute to go.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I have just 1 minute. This is tele. It's not like radio where we can extend it. So I was going to enjoy the conversation. Next week, we'll try and see the MPP gurus. Some of them are in town. We'll see. According to Mr. George, the ambassador's personal secretary, he will arrange to get them to come and speak with us. I'll see what he can do, because he's saying it's unfortunate that the deputy minister, foreign minister, promised.
Mansa Musa, am I still on air, or you are talking?
Yeah, you are still on air, but you are not talking. I'm talking, and that will be. I mean, Kwesi, that is the last time we are going to hear from you today, because we have to go. We have to go, Kwesi.
Okay, that's fine. All right, thank you.
We'll talk behind the scenes later. Thank you very much.
All right.
Shelter Joa say, who is okay? He said, NDC. Shelter Joa say, NDC must not allow these people to have their way. And 1-2 coming from Mr. Obin Frimpong Nicholas. Anyway, I'll say it's very sad. Very sad. All right. So that is it. It is sad that this registration and all this ID card and personal details being collected left, right, and center in Ghana. Who is actually keeping them? The people who are keeping this information, this data, are they in Ghana? Can they be trusted? Or they are outside? Nobody is asking this question. Look, next week we'll try and bring more people. This week we should have got Haruna Idrisu, the minority leader here. He had an emergency letter. So hopefully we'll get him, or Sedun Katia, or any of the NPP gurus who are in town. I know they are in town. They are in the UK. If we can try and get, my producer is saying he will also make his effort to make sure we get them to come and speak to us. That's it for today and for this week. Thank you very much and have a good life. Cheers. Cheers.